That's a dangerous thought, though, to say nothing else could go wrong.
Well, exactly, because it did, and I came home one afternoon with my, 1-year-old and ended up opening my service door, going in from my garage, and the upstairs pipe from my upstairs bathroom burst and flooded all day long.
Wow. Gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons of water. Welcome to the Lasting Business Solutions Podcast, Indy's Launchpad to sustain business success, growth, and leadership. My name's Renee Lucas, and I am your host. I'm really excited to talk to our guest today, Michael Talbot, who's the owner of Guardian Angel Restoration. Let me tell you a little bit about Michael. Michael is the founder of Guardian Angel Restoration. He's a veteran-owned water, fire, and mold restoration company serving Central Indiana. A 100% disabled Army veteran who twice lost his home to floods, Michael built Guardian to do more than repair properties. His mission is to restore hope when things seem lost. We're going to talk about that. His team provides 24/7 emergency responses, IICRC certified service, and clear advocacy with insurers. Through the Crossroads program, a portion of qualifying projects supports local nonprofits such as Prevail and the Mybor Realtor Foundation. Michael leads with dignity, clarity, and ownership, serving families and partners with compassion and excellence. Michael, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here.
Man, there's so much that we have to talk about, but I want to start with your journey. Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us that you had mentioned that you were a veteran. You've mentioned that you've lost a couple of homes to floods.
Sure.
So let's talk about your journey and where you've been and what's gotten you to where you are with Guardian.
Yeah, absolutely. My journey starts actually out of Michigan. So that's where I was born and raised from.
Go Blue.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay,
Go Blue.
go Blue.
I'm a Michigan fan. Yeah. So, boo-hoo to the Ohio State guys. I see you guys. Boo-boo. But anyways, born and raised in Michigan, little small town right next to Lansing called Grand Ledge. Got 2 brothers, 2 sisters. My father worked for General Motors. Mother was a stay-at-home mother, ran a little in-home daycare. But life was great, growing up until about 7 years old. That's when kind of adversity struck me. I got in a pool accident where I ended up getting pushed and the pool wasn't properly opened yet. So ended up developing a staph infection inside my eardrum, which would have ended up killing me if my parents wouldn't have brought me into the ER that night.
Wow.
Yeah. Do
you remember at 7? I'm assuming you remember all of that then.
Yeah. For all the wrong reasons, because of, just the trajectory life just took then, because at that time, I was in kindergarten. Mm-hmm. So the school systems didn't know what to do with me because at that point I couldn't hear properly. So I wasn't enunciating anything. So I developed a lisp. So,
wow.
Yeah. So they held me back. And so immediately as I'm going to school with my neighbor kids and, my next door neighbors in the same grade as me, I'm being held back and the school system didn't know what to do with me. So they labeled me medically, mentally retarded and put me in special education. And that's where just the tormenting, the bullying, the life just really took a twist on me, just really trying to find out what I was made of.
Wow. And I tell you what, the bullying and everything else, until you go through that as a kid, you don't realize the impacts that has throughout your entire life, I'm sure.
No, because you're being judged by, a
label.
A label, a characteristic that isn't necessarily your fault. And
it wasn't true. That's the other thing too, is the staph infection with your eardrum, it created a hearing and a speech issue, but it wasn't a mental retardation issue.
No.
But that's the label that you got. And then, wow.
And it took my parents getting a grant and working with the special needs teacher directly outside of the school to get me a hearing device so that teachers could wear it. So, I had to wear a headset, which then
It just adds to it.
It helped me, but just added to the whole system thing. But, you know, I was told I'd never graduate high school. They literally told me your son will never graduate the way he is.
Did your parents fight that? Did they resist that? Did they believe that?
Oh, they fought it. They protested it. My dad got into a huge argument with the principal and, you know, was advocating for me with doctors and specialists that, you know, my parents went leaps and bounds to make sure that, you know, I was properly being taken care of, you know, on kind of the negligent behalf of the school, you know, kind of holding me back in certain areas because they weren't equipped to, you know, properly handle me. And then it just kind of led to adverse effects, but you know, but that's where the story begins. And that's where, you know, the armor of grit kind of came in and, you know, and I did graduate high school. You know, I did do what they told me I couldn't do. And I started to prove to myself that, you know, people can tell you one thing, but it's up to you to make that story, you know, true or not. You know, people can put a label on you, but that's their own belief or stigmatization about you. And it's on you to move past that. Yeah.
Michael, I love that. When do you feel like you started really believing in yourself again?
It really came to the day that I kind of decided that, because I started to bounce around. My grandfather was a huge inspiration to me. He owned a multi-million-dollar carpenter business out in Mokina, Illinois, and always preached to me, you got to go to school. He was a retired firefighter and then, you know, turned entrepreneur. And so I had this huge passion in my heart to serve, you know, based on my grandfather. And then when I'd go visit him and see these mansions, I was just like, holy cow, you can really do this? Yeah. And, you know, he was like, yeah, you got to, you know, you go to school, you got to do this. And but I kept bouncing around. I couldn't find what I was passionate about. You know, I tried nursing, I tried automotive. I just couldn't grasp onto something. And,
you know, let me say that I think that's a really heavy load and expectation to put on anybody under the age of 18 anyway. You know what I mean? Like, we're all expected to go through school and find our passion and know what we want to do and do it for the rest of our lives. Nearly impossible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it seems like it's even a bigger pressure today as I got a 15-year-old and I'm trying to mentor him, and, you know, even being an entrepreneur myself, I still want him to find out what his true passion is. What is your gift? What are you going to be most passionate about? What is it? Trades? Is it traditional college route? Do you need it? Do you not? This whole stigmatization of if you don't go to college, you're not going to be anything is completely wrong.
Yes, it's complete crap. I think that from business owners, I hear so many business owners talk too about how they expect almost that their kids will just take over the business, right? And I think it's really, I love what you're saying about helping your kids find their passion. Maybe it is in the trades, maybe it is in exactly what your business is and what you do, but maybe it's something different, right? And I think that that's so important to be able to share that with your kids so that there's not an expectation of, I have to do this, or this is all I can do, or this is the only opportunity I have.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, you got free will. And that's what you want to offer. And I don't want to put that pressure on them. You know, my son is asked to work with me, does some marketing stuff, and he loves it. But, you know, do I want him? Is the pressure like you have got to take over this business? No, absolutely not. Would I love it? Absolutely.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah. Yeah. It's a legacy.
100%. But, you know, if he doesn't have it, I got 3 more kids. And, you know, so, you know, I'll find one, you know, so, you know, the purpose behind it will remain. But, you know, going back to your point, you know, where, you know, life started to change was the day that, you know, I decided to join the military.
Were you 18 then?
No, I was actually 21. I took 3 years off, and but I was quickly realizing what was holding me back was emotional intelligence.
Okay. So how did you become aware of that?
Losing jobs, just getting in constant trouble, you know, with, you know, thrown out of classes in school. I got kicked out of all sports. I mean, I was one of the top wrestlers, one of the top basketballs, one of the top football players, but because of emotional intelligence, and all you had to do is call me a name or something, I would lose it. And I'm immediately fighting or immediately using, you know, profound language, just not having that. And my older brother was a very successful business guy. And I always admired him for emotional intelligence and how he kept things calm. But again, thinking back to what my grandfather, did and admiring service people, I had this big, passion for, service, for Army. And with 9/11 happening, frequently, to that decision of me joining, that was a big decision maker too, was to, I was like, you know what? I'm going to actually go do something that matters. Like, I graduated high school. I've been wasting my time for 3 years bouncing around, not finding any really traction on something, and I've got to make a big decision that's gonna change something for me, that's going to help invest in me, not me offering services to other people. What can I do that's going to make a big change and build on to what I'm lacking? And that was the emotional intelligence, and I was lacking consistency. I would always love to make a commitment and get on it, but I didn't know how to follow through because I never had those pieces in my earlier childhood, because I didn't have a friend group. I didn't have people because of bullying. So right. I faced all that adversity. So I felt like I really didn't have a chance to grow up and learn those things. So when I got to that, I was just like, wow, where can I get this in all one piece?
And the military would be the place to do it. Talk about accountability. In saying too, your emotional intelligence, when you live your whole childhood constantly on the defensive from bullying and being made fun of and everything else, that's what you learn to be your initial reaction. That's how you cope. Right. So I love that you found that awareness of this is not how I want to cope for the rest of my life. This is not how I want to be for the rest of my life. I've got to do something for myself to change that. That's incredible. So you went into the Army.
Yeah. Yeah. So I enlisted in the Army, and my first job for the Army was a chemical specialist. So I dealt with anything that was chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear. And that's where, kind of my passion for education, certification, qualification started developing, because, I had to pass basic training and get that achievement. Yeah. I didn't get pinned and be at my unit and be with the rest of the guys until I, got those certifications, proved myself, to not only be a soldier, but then also learn the job training. Because that's a whole nother thing. I mean, because you don't get to the Army and then all of a sudden you're expected to defend the country. And then they say, hey, we'll train you along the way and good luck.
Right. And, as somebody who's never been in the military, I have no idea what that process really looks like. I have no idea, what it looks like, or how do you pick a trade per se within the Army to learn? I mean, that's something that's completely new to me.
Yeah. So you take a various job training not certifications, but qualification tests that end up giving you a score. And then based on that score and what you're, what you are wanting to do, right, they give you a list of, job qualifications that say, hey, which one would you like? And, some of them may come with a bonus. Some of them may not come with a bonus. Sure. And me early on in my path, no idea why I chose chemical specialist outside of it had the biggest job bonus. So,
and that's okay. It's okay if that's the reason.
Well, it serves me now perfectly within restoration and mold remediation, because that's nothing compared to being in a live VX chamber, and stuff like that. But so it's prepared me before I even knew it was preparing me. So it was already God playing a place in my mind going, choose this. Yeah. This will help you in the future. You don't know it now, but it will.
It all comes full circle.
Yep. The discipline. This will help you. The military, learning, leadership, learning duty, learning respect, learning selfless service, learning honor, integrity, personal courage. Those 7 core values, when you encompass those as just a human being, you completely reshape yourself as just who you are and how you're presented.
Did you find that those 7 core values, is that military core values?
Correct.
Okay. Did you find that you immediately connected with those? Did you ever struggle with any of those? Did any of those come with time? Are those part of your business now?
Yeah, no, I connected immediately with it because it was a family. When I joined the military, that's what I lacked. I didn't have outside of my immediate family. I didn't have a friend group that I grew up with. I didn't have anyone I could turn to and say, can you help me? Will you be a battle? Will you, I didn't have people to talk to. So I strive for that. So when I got that and I got around other people that just understood what it was like to make those type of commitments and that we're all striving to do one mission, one goal, and coming together, I was just like, oh my gosh. And
probably felt like you were like home.
Well, I was home and they didn't know my past. I was running away from my past. I was like, I'm away from it all. Yeah. They don't know any of it. I can restart. I can it was a whole new refreshment. So it just remarked a beginning for me to hit that mental reset on my mind and allow me to now focus solely on building myself instead of, having all of those things staring me in the face and grand ledge.
Well, and really, like, it became your identity before, you know what I mean? And to let that go and to know that that's not your identity. That's not who you are. It's not who you have to be. It's not what has to form you. Correct.
I mean, and it was my identity, and it was a huge part that was tearing me down, because, if you think of it, your mind is like a weapon. Okay. So if I'm going to load my mind up, for the day with ammunition, what is that ammunition going to be? Is that going to be,
positive,
doubt?
Negative? Yes.
Is that going to be insecurities?
Yeah.
Is that going to be failure? And so when you get up to that task and you go to aim at whatever you're aiming at, and you go to fire, what is that in there? Versus, if I got two guns and one's filled with, positive words of affirmation, the other one's filled with self-doubt and bad affirmation, which gun is going to be the most effective at making sure that your mission and your purpose and meaning is actually going to be achieved?
Right. That makes me, on the last session, Amy Morgan was here and we were talking about mindfulness, and she had talked about an acronym, SAVERS, as part of a morning routine. And part of it was affirmation and visualization. And it's like, what are we telling ourselves? Who do we want to be, and how are we preparing ourselves to be that and to practice that every single day? It just reminds me of exactly what we talked about on that last session.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how long were you in the military?
Served for 15 years.
A long time.
Yeah. So it was a huge part of my life, but it was a journey that was, it was for myself, at the end of the day. And so many lessons, that I've done in my life, is what I'm doing serving for? Is it serving myself? Is it serving, the core mission? Is it serving what I'm trying to accomplish in the community? And, and that's where, quickly where my careers kind of were fighting each other. Because that's, I started off in the military and I never even knew what restoration was until I experienced my first water loss, which was myself. And that's how I got into this business.
So tell me a little bit about that. So you lost, was it like a first home for you? Like what kind of a water loss was it? Was it a flood? Was it something that happened inside the home?
How I got to Indiana. So I ended up graduating from the military, got all that stuff, and moved here to Indiana to support my older brother that was working for Radio Shack, and then ended up flew down to Florida because he won District Manager of the Year. And they were just like, you're like a clone of your brother. Do you want a job? And I was just like, heck yeah. I mean, the guy I've been idolizing awesome forever, but lo and behold, I mean, it got me into kind of the business world with marketing and just being able to talk and whatnot. But then quickly, what happened about a year later after that is they went bankrupt.
Yeah.
And life, as life was rising for me, it then
took a sharp turn.
Yeah. And I lost my job and I broke up with my fiance. I, found out I'm now going to become a single dad of a broken household, and everything I thought was going to be the American dream with buying a house and raising a family and doing things the right way, being in the military and being respected and being away from all my problem was going to, start turning. But everything that went wrong. Now I'm about to lose my house, and I don't think anything else can go wrong at this point. Like, I'm praying my rear off. I'm like, God, like, like I am.
That's a dangerous thought, though, to say nothing else could go wrong.
Well, exactly, because it did, and I came home one afternoon, and as I was, I finally found a job working at McDonald's because it couldn't even tailor my resume enough to become, to get out there to get interviews. And because I'm not from here, so I was struggling finding a new job.
You had no network. You had
nothing. Yeah. So I'm just about to lose my mind. And God sent me, my first test, and came home with my, 1-year-old, and ended up opening my service door, going in from my garage, and the upstairs pipe from my upstairs bathroom burst and flooded all day long.
Wow. Gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons of water.
Not just gallons. I mean, tens of thousands, probably. Every ceiling was caved in on the ground.
Oh my gosh.
So when I walked in the service door, the pipe blew a hole through the wall, through the interior of the bathroom wall, through the interior of my son's wall, and was hitting his dresser. It was like a fire hydrant.
Thank goodness nobody got hit by that stream of water. Like, how powerful that is. Oh, yeah. If it burst through walls like that.
Yeah, it was blasting. So then it was pouring down my staircase. So every square inch of my house from the second floor down was completely flooded. All my furniture wicked up. Lost. Ceilings on the ground, cabinets wicked up, furniture gone. My master bedroom was underneath the bathroom. So all of my personal possessions that I saved up I saved my cell phones. I had my firstborn's pictures and everything on it from high school, back, because that's what we did. We didn't have a cloud. Then. So we saved our phones.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to trade in a phone because that was my pictures.
Yes, I know.
So I'm
I remember.
No, I'll just buy a new phone.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm going to keep this because it's good keepsakes.
Yeah.
And everything gone. I mean, just water damaged. All my pictures, yearbooks, memorabilia, it just vaporized in front of my face. I had just started working on my bachelor's degree because I inspired to become an officer in the Army. And, my laptop, gone, it's my books I just bought and started, gone. And it's just, I didn't know what to do, and ended up, the lime and light of it all was I had a restoration company show up that was veteran owned. I saw my military accolades. I saw my project management books and was like, would you like a job? And I was just like,
wow.
Yeah, I was blown away. I was just like, you have no idea how bad I need a job right now, because I didn't think anything else could go wrong and get worse, but like I am at the brink of like suicide. And the only thing keeping me going is my son, because my family's 3.5 hours away. I'm struggling with being a single dad. I mean, yeah, it's week on, week off, but still.
There's nobody even to help you, like, take everything out of your house. You know what I mean? Like, everything's got to go because everything's flooded and ruined and everything else. And to be faced with that alone, it's so overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I have 3 pictures of my mother.
That's it. Those are the heartbreaking things that until you go through it, you don't think about, or you don't realize how much you have. Because it just seems like, well, it's just things. You can go get a new couch. You can go get a new dining room table. It'll be fun to go remodel your whole home and do everything, right? Like that can be the perception sometimes. But you don't think about the 3 pictures left of your mother. Or maybe you have something that's been in the family for however many years. It was your great-great-grandmother's or whatever, and it's all gone.
Yeah. Nobody thinks of it. It's the personal memories that come with it that make things irreplaceable, that you can't put a value on the memories. And sometimes those, some memories can be recreated, but most can't.
Right. You can't put a value either on the things that you've worked so hard to achieve. So some of those things might be like, maybe it was the first couch that you ever purchased on your own from whatever. It's everything you had before was a hand-me-down from somebody. And it's the goal and the achievement of that also gets tied to those things that you feel like you lose.
Yeah. 100%. And again, you can't replace those core memories. And as much as you want to put a value on them, you can't. And that's oftentimes a question you'll be asked, well, how much is that worth? Well, I don't know. Like, how can I put a value on some of that stuff?
Idea. Yeah.
And, they'll be like, well, that vase has been in my family for, 3 generations and now it's gone. And, the insurance company would say, well, I'll give you $12. And you're like, what?
And it's insulting. It's disheartening. It's, I had said, so we went through Hurricane Helene and we lost everything in our condo down there. And, when the insurance company valued some of those things, it's just one of those, like, it'll bring you to your knees and make you cry. I was like, when you see everything in your whole home sitting out on the street, or when you see what the insurance company actually comes back with, like, it will bring you to your knees and just make you cry.
Yeah. And that's just not the core thing going on. There's so many other things that's happening because.
Where are you going to sleep that night?
Yeah. And that was getting displaced into a hotel, as I'm, being told that you're going to be off here for a while. We have no idea how long and we have no idea if we can save any of your stuff and we'll let you know. And there's just so many questions was looming my mind as anxiety was just on full attack. And, how am I going to get to work? What clothes am I going to wear?
Yeah. What are you going to wear tomorrow?
Like what do I do? Like, and I didn't know any of those questions and I didn't.
How are you going to pay for the hotel? Like, you know what I mean? I mean, it's all those things. Yes.
Yeah. Luckily, I filed an insurance claim and for the most part had everything taken care of. But again, there was things that couldn't be taken care of. There's no money or things they could have done to replace the photos and memories that I lost. And that's just what people just can't put, you can't get your personal feelings caught up in other people's, I guess possessions or privacy or or whatever they value, because you just don't know.
No, you don't know. The other hard thing financially that we found is, yes, we have insurance, but it's all like you get reimbursed. There's a lot of out of pocket that happens up front. And it's like, how are we going to clean out our savings account? Like, how are we going to pay for all of this until the reimbursement happens? Because that could be depending on the insurance, depending on the situation, right? It could be months before you actually see any of that. And that's another hardship. You've got a 1-year-old that's depending on you. You're a single dad, and now it's faced with all these additional expenses that you didn't have an hour ago.
Right.
So, Michael, we're talking about all this loss and all these emotions, and you've not been through this just once, but you've been through it twice.
Correct. Yeah.
That's how most people in their lifetime don't go through it even once. The fact that you went through it twice is just mind-blowing. How far apart were those instances?
Yeah. So when I talk about my journey, I mean, God played a huge hand in giving me the trials and tribulations to be impactful and for the journey that he had set for me, later on in my life. But so, when that first water loss happened, that was when I rolled for my bachelor's degree. So I was like, had a huge significant, impact that was going to help my trajectory of my military.
Yeah.
So then 4 years later, I ended up graduating and got my bachelor's degree, and I was celebrating my rear off. I was like, yes, I can get in my paperwork. I can get this officer candidate thing going on. And God's like, well, you don't obviously get what I got planned for you. So let me go ahead and give you experience number 2. So I came home, one, January night, and I had deja vu. And
your pipe
the other pipe on the other side of the upstairs bathroom.
Same home.
Oh my! Froze and flooded my house once again. So I had lost everything all again. Another $200,000 insurance claim,
I cannot even imagine what your face must have looked like when you opened that door and saw all that water again.
It unbelievable. I mean, when you mentioned earlier, you're like, some people are like, yes, I went through this. I get to remodel my house. Yeah, that was the nice thing on the first one. The second one, I was like, I've already remodeled this thing. Like,
Right.
I don't need to go in a hotel. This is insane. What? How?
I like it the way it was. I
Yes.
don't need to remodel it. Yes.
Yes. So I was like, this is not a congratulations for your bachelor's degree. And so I relived the entire thing
my gosh.
once again. And, and it just, I could not believe it. So back in a hotel for 6 months. By that time, my son thought it was the best thing in the world because we got a hot tub every night.
Yes,
we got a pool. He's
yeah.
like, Dad, this is
Way
amazing,
to go, Dad. You
right?
made it.
So I was like, not cool. So it's just another thing of restoration that was just peaking down. And let me tell you this is so 3 years later, I ended up getting my master's degree. Another military big one, because then I applied for, Battle Creek for their 12-month program. And, but then God was like, hold on a second. Let me give you another reminder.
Yeah.
So I had a third one. So this one was a roof leak that was off in a back corner of my loft, and I couldn't see where the leak was coming in, and it ended up engulfing my attic full of mold by the time I ended up finding out that it was happening.
Was it a slow leak then?
Yeah.
So oh my gosh, you didn't even know it was going on.
No. So I went through a third one. I was just like,
when you hear the word mold and you immediately freak out, you know what I mean? Because everything's covered in mold, so everything has to go.
Yeah. So I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I ended up getting rid of that house, and I'm like, all right, God, like this is ridiculous. This is 3 times. The first 2 were no joke. I mean, because again, you got to replace everything, and the third one's just annoying. So then it just was like, what are you trying to tell me? And then the government freezing with the military kind of happened, and which then pushed off all our orders, and ended up getting sent on a mission, and ended up getting in an accident that severed my L5S1, and then what I thought was my purpose in life with the military
Gone.
Now I'm a 15-year, retired, disabled veteran, and what I was busting my rear to get and not really noticing the opportunity right in front of me with restoration, because I was so focused on the individual achievement. I'll show you, guys at back at home, like I'm somebody.
Yeah.
I'm going to be somebody, and you're going to respect me. I'm going to earn it a different way. And I was self-serving myself, and it just, and when that retirement letter hit, I mean, anxiety, depression, I turned into an ashamed, almost 8-month drunk. I mean, it was every night when my kids went to bed, I was in so much pain. I was ashamed. I didn't know what to do, and I was broke. I didn't know what to do. And 8 months went by, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I was, in my shower, I was bawling my eyes out, and I just, and I was just finally, I was like, God, I surrender. Like what is the purpose? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, what is this all for? And it was like he spoke into my ear and was just like, Mike, like that guardian angel you needed 12 years ago, you're that man now.
For everybody else.
Like, you've navigated these spaces. I have given you countless, tragedies, countless things, trials, countless tribulations to get through. And through all those lessons, now I offer you an opportunity to turn into blessings, and now go be your guardian angel. And
that's where guardian angel restoration comes in.
And that's where it came in. But that was the plan. But again, when I joined up for the military, it was to serve.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, yeah, guardian angel is great. I'm really good at customers. I'm really good at meeting people in their space. I'm really good at navigating. I'm really good at, lowering anxiety. I'm really good talking with that stuff. But I'm not serving anybody. I'm not filling my cup back up. I'm pouring into everybody, and nothing is pouring back into me. I'm empty. I'm so empty. Like, what can I do? And that's when, through prayer, just the Crossroads program came.
Tell me, because that's something that was in your bio here on the Crossroads program. What is the Crossroads program?
Yeah. So my Crossroads is built to make meaningful and purposeful relationships between the business and the community.
Okay.
So I do that. And that's where we talked about my affiliates earlier with MyBore and as well as Prevail. And what that program does for them, it allows them to market our joint partnership.
Okay.
That we are a restoration company that they use, and that if anyone uses our services, and then when they call in and says, "Hey, I heard about you through the MyBore Foundation," then we track that through our CRM, and once that job has been completed, we take 10% of the profits from that job and we return it back to that local nonprofit, so that we are being impactful to also the community. So again, we have meaning and purpose and servitude behind everything we do, giving us that cup filling. Now,
you know what, Michael, I love that. And so many times as business owners, we do give. We give to our clients, we give to our employees, we give to our managers, we give to everybody, right? And so many times I've heard business owners say that they feel selfish having to fill up their own, or wanting to fill up their own cup, right? Or finding their purpose and their need again. It's not. The best way you're going to serve other people is if you are fulfilled, right?
Yeah,
so
100%.
Man, this is incredible. I love this. Tell me a little bit about when it comes to running a business, and we know we've got to have a profitable business, right?
Sure.
Business has to be profitable to stay in business, okay? But then we're also donating some of our profits to the community. Were you ever worried about losing profitability in the business because of the donations over here?
Yeah. I was big worried about it, for a little bit, and that's where I've hired some, business coaches. I got a really great accountant and all that, because again, that was just where I came up clean to them. I was like, look, I'm a giant teddy bear. Like, I know I'm this military,
I gave you a big hug when you walked in. I know.
But I love to give. I love to say yes to everybody. Like, I love to help, and but I need safeguards.
Yeah.
I need people to say, hey, you can't help everybody.
Yeah.
And that's where, we needed to identify, 3 core questions, when we started, looking into those things, because early on I made a lot of decisions that were just like yes to everybody, that I was like, oh crap.
It has an adverse effect on the business or on you or something else, right? If we're not purposeful in what we are doing here.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, because, you want to do 25 golf outings a year and all that. But, what is the purpose, of those, what is the meaning of those golf outings, and what is the servitude of those golf outings?
Are those your 3 core questions?
Yes.
That you asked?
Yes.
Go through those again.
Big time. So when we're going to talk about purpose, and that's what we're looking for. What are the results that we're looking to produce? So we're gonna ask ourselves about that decision, and maybe that golf outing. What are the results we're looking to do? And then we're gonna look into the meaning of it, and why those results matter. Okay. And then the final third question is the servitude. Like, what is it serving? Are we raising funds for people? Are we just campaigning, or is it just going off into Neverland? We got to know what we're doing, and does it align to our core values? It's great to do 25 golf outings and go out there and say, yeah, I did 25 golf outings and advertise all these great transactions and everything.
Sure.
And blow out your name. But, what did that do for your core mission and your core identity? And that's where, we've really taken a step back and identified, like, hey, we are going to partner with the same people trying to make community differences that we're trying to make.
Right.
And that's where, with our marketing, especially, we changed that this year. And because it used to be like, hey, I'd love to go in this magazine. I'd love to get on a billboard. I'd love to do all this stuff of getting your name out. And I was
spray and pray.
Yeah.
That's what they say, spray and pray.
And then that third question hit. And I was like, whoa, I was like, we're doing the meaning and purpose, and we're tailoring these 2 questions to meet the decision that we want to make. but is it really serving our, our core purpose? And I was like, well, no, it doesn't. I was just talking my way into doing that because I wanted to see that glamour name up there, and it didn't do anything.
It's a temporary feel good, right? It's a temporary feel good when you see the glamour of your name, or we can say like, oh, we did 25 of these golf outings, or we did whatever. But I think really honing in and getting purposeful and making sure that you find the meaning and everything behind it too. What are the results that we want? Who are we trying to serve? What are we trying to serve? When we go back to, are you worried about the profitability of the business? No, not really, because we're making very deliberate decisions right here.
Right.
We're serving the community. We're leading a profitable business. We've got employees. The other thing that we have found too is, as a company, is we've looked over the years as like, hey, we want to do more in the community, right? And so we'll randomly pick something. Well, nobody's really engaged, or there's not a lot of buy-in with it because it doesn't mean anything to anybody. Right. And we come back, I love these core questions that you have is, what is the purpose? What is the meaning? Does it mean something to people? Are they going to get behind it? Are they going to be passionate about it? Do you find that your team is passionate about this as well?
Yeah. I mean, because again, you're finding ways to get engaged. And we took the big shift of getting with our local sports teams. So we actually signed on with the Indy Ignite, the Indy Fuel, as well as the Fisher's Freight. So we are the exclusive restoration company for all three of those. But when we talk about the third one, who does it serve? That exclusive restoration company also is tied into running, or not running, but helping facilitate with their nonprofit programs.
Oh, wow.
So each one of their games, we will be helping assist with bringing in nonprofits and helping work with them, getting some different just the ways of awareness of what they're trying to do in the community. With the fuel, they'll get 100 tickets, they'll get a table, they'll have some different things. With the Ignite, we'll be sponsoring 14 veteran-owned nonprofits. So we'll be looking for nonprofits to be getting in front of games within those. That'll be free of charge for those nonprofits. So that's stuff that we packaged into our partnership because, again, we're serving our community, and we want our community to know that we're there for them and we're giving back. So, and when we're just giving back based on the the referrals, you don't gotta, I'm only worried about that stuff when the business isn't coming in. But because of our partnerships and because of our name, the integrity behind everything we do, the connections to the community, the organic feeds are just flowing huge. And talk
about the network that builds too, because when you're passionate about that and you have those connections and people can see that you're truly serving, right? Yes, those sponsorships absolutely serve the business as they should, right? We're advertising for our business. We want that. We have to have that. But then the service that's happening truly within the community and with these other nonprofits as well is bringing in business that you'd never even account for, because those people, they believe in you. They know that you're genuine. They appreciate and they're on board with your purpose. They're 100% going to want to support your business and pass your name along if that time comes that they have a referral to make.
Oh, right? 100%.
Yeah. Michael, I think I think very few businesses, it's really admirable what you've built and how you've built it, because I think very few businesses are built on any sort of purpose. Like most small businesses start because we're good at something, right? Like we're good at HVAC, we're good at baking cupcakes, we're good at whatever, right? And so we make this business, but there's no purpose. And, you get so far in as an owner, and we've gone through it. And you mentioned it. Yeah, I've got this business and we're doing this, but what's filling my cup, right? We lose our own purpose. How do we find that again? I think that the way that you have succeeded in that is really something that a lot of us can learn from.
No, 100%. And if you can find that, I mean, it's just looking into yourself.
Yeah.
What is my gift that I have to least do the amount of work that I get the most filling out of. And for us, that's serving. And to be an entrepreneur, to be able to make those decisions is, mind blowing. Like I built for the Noblesville Fire Department. They have a therapy dog named Carbon. Aww. So if you look on their website or whatnot, I built him a fire truck.
Did you?
So
I'm totally going to check that out.
So there's a remote control fire truck that, I had an employee with a super handy husband. So we got with him, his name was Nick, and we built this fire truck.
That's so cool.
And so I ended up ordering it, and, it's just, he drives around. So at hospitals and different things. And you just see a therapy dog driving in on a remote control fire truck.
Oh my gosh.
Every face just
lights up.
Lights up. And I'm just like, that's why I do what I do, because I can do those types of things and I don't have to put in paperwork. I don't have to beg owners to go out in the community to serve and to be part of it, to build relationships instead of just going after commissions and transactions and trying to be these numbers. Like, I would rather build authentic relationships that build me long lasting, business than just start going after all these transactions and big names on boards and all that stuff.
Well, I tell you, you are succeeding. You are doing that. Hurricane Helene was almost a year ago, right? And I was talking to somebody, and it's been a hard year. It's been very emotional. It's been very challenging mentally. It's been a lot of feelings of loss in a lot of different ways besides things, right? Sure. And I was talking to somebody about it who I see maybe twice a year. I see this person usually at like the FC Tucker, like an event, and usually another real estate event or something like that. And he recommended that I talk to you. And he was like, he not only gets it, but what he has done with his life and his business and for the community from those experiences is just the most positive and encouraging thing. And he was like, you need that right now. And it's funny because it's like, literally, we were talking about this, the arrangement for you to be here today. And I've been so excited to hear your story and to hear about this and what you've overcome. It's just been incredible. I've had goosebumps as we've been talking. It's both just crazy.
It's been amazing.
Yes. Well, Michael, thank you for being here today. It's been so awesome. And just to kind of run through here, what is the purpose? What is the meaning? And what is the service? I love those 3 core questions. And I think that business owners can take that away and implement into their business for sure. The other thing too, is just the drive that you have to overcome everything since you were 7 years old. It really is admirable.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate you.
Man. Well, thank you, Michael, for being here and sharing your story. I know it's made a big impact on me, and I've been looking forward to learning about you and what you've been through and what makes you what makes you tick. Right. I would encourage you, if you've been through something like this that has really shaped who you are, the business that you have, the career that you're in, the path that you're on, share it with us. That's something I was like, I think all of us is, we're talking about restoration and loss, water loss, especially right now and things like that. And I feel connected to you in that way. And there's a community out there. We always say, like, you feel like you're on a lone island as a business owner, right? And you're not. There's a community out there that has been through it, that knows what the experience is. And I think working with a company like Guardian, Michael, if he shows up at your house, he knows, like, he's been through it. You know the emotions, you know the hardships, you know the next steps, you know what insurance is going to look like, the pains of it, the great things about it, all of the things, right? And so remember, Michael, Guardian Angel Restoration, if you should have that challenge pop up in your own life. So thank you again for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
All right. Guys, join us next time on the Lasting Business Solutions podcast.